Sean Hannity likes to get loose on his radio program, and he was talking to a caller about New York. Liberal, dirty, crime-infested New York. Hannity lives in Long Island. I actually know where he lives. I won't disclose that, but I have seen...
So we do a live show outside?
Yeah, right. I've heard of the place that he lives. It's a fancy area of Long Island, and he also works in New York, but he hates it so much. And these are the reasons why.
Mark Simone, you're Mr. New York. You'd never leave New York, would you?
No, it's still great. Yeah, you love New York.
It is. No, I don't love New York. You're wrong. I hate New York. There's more crime. There's more. It's filthy dirty. I can't walk 5 feet without smelling weed. You got more people being thrown in front of trains. You can't go below ground without putting your life in jeopardy. Then you've got the knockout game is back, and nobody. They still have the idiot
knockout game is back.
Why would you want to stay there?
Yeah.
I'm not nominating you for the Chamber of Commerce.
That's the humor from a regular Hannity caller there. Whew, baby.
Not a funny joke to Eric Adams.
No. I did not know the knockout game was back, Brandon, but even if it's not, ready to bring it back? I don't know.
Didn't you see when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock? That was the opening salvo.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the knockout game is
back
began.
at the Comedy Cellar.
Like Bill de Blasio was just seen on a subway car. Like, what are we talking about? Like,
I mean, it's just like, and when's the last time Sean Hannity you think has even just kind of walked in the vicinity of a subway entrance?
The idea
he goes from town car to Fox News to town car to Long Island.
Exactly. The idea that he steps more than like from the front door to the street, like he veers either direction more than like 5 feet, I think is hard to believe.
They probably smoke a lot in the Fox News office though, so
Oh yeah, those people seem like they, are like stoners, and the opposite.
Lit 24/7.
I have to say, like, I really enjoy. Maybe that's just because I enjoy partaking, but like, New York has a lot of sense, particularly in the summer, like just bus exhaust or trash or like a lot of crap like that. The weed smoke has been a genuine improvement, and I always think it's like, this is freedom every time I go through a cloud like that. But I'm different than.
No, I like it too.
I guess I like freedom. Hannity doesn't like freedom.
Yeah, like what an authoritarian kind of Puritan he is. Because when I smell weed in an elevator or outside, I'm like, oh gosh, I should smoke some weed later. Like that's kind of what my reaction is. That smells good.
But it also goes to show you how, as tragic as they are, these isolated kind of outstanding incidents of crime in the subway and elsewhere in the city engenders this type of reaction. Like, yes, a person was pushed in front of the subway, and that does and has happened, but a lot of people commute every single day, multiple times a day, and nothing of the sort like that happens.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you were watching or listening to Hannity's program, you wouldn't know that, or you wouldn't think.
There's a certain thing called probability, and probabilistically speaking, I always tell my relatives in North Dakota this, who are always like, "You walk across Brooklyn every day." It's like, yeah, and occasionally you'll see somebody who's been like badly harmed by society that, like, you step away from a little bit, but like the chance that you get assaulted while real in a country that underinvests in people and puts them up against the wheel as bad as America does, you're still more likely to die in like a car accident in like North Dakota
many times over
by like a drunk driver or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, fear of crime in the cities is an old Republican albatross that's coded for a lot of things. Fear of the urban youth, i.e. black people. Crime is out of control. It's very 80s and 90s. But some of this is, I think when I think of like this kind of fear mongering, and also like the wave of true crime, TikTok, and all of like the cops fentanyl sort of fentanyl fear mongering, it's because the suburbs are just like not the place to be. I can only imagine that the suburbs have become more and more alienating since the beginning of the pandemic. And, a lot of American, rather the goal of the American dream had been to shuttle people into these sort of like mini, quote unquote castles where they're sit on like an acre to a quarter of an acre of a land, so they can pretend like, it's not owned by the bank. and it's not being that their standard of living is not being slowly ebbed away at. And so, like, you got to pretend like all the crime exists in the city. The fact that you're way more likely to be victimized by a member of your own family or somebody is not something you should be focused on, because that's something that you can't really do anything about. So instead, focus on like the minority of crime that is, randomly, mentally ill people pushing people in front of trains. It's like, it's just a moral panic. We don't do anything about crime in this country. So.
No, yeah, and I mean when you're in the suburbs, you're in a you're atomized in your transportation, so you have to. There's like a gatekeeping element to it where you have to purchase a car or rent a car, and then you're going to be driving around in that car and in that vehicle, even though you might not be near a scary black person or somebody who's houseless. Then you're still way more likely to be physically harmed by that process than you were to be if you were to take public transportation.
Yeah, it just traps you into a type of American living that relies on so many predatory services and predatory industries that, like, it just makes you beholden to them in a way that, like, they want to get you into it. They want to sign you up for it. They want to make sure that you're in that kind of debt, just like student loan debt, that makes it impossible to think of anything else. And one of the ways is like propagandize that you don't want to live in the city. You don't want to move there.
And when you talk about how it's like the place to be or whatever, and people in the suburbs they have this almost like fascination and curiosity with it that reminds me of some of the way that like they almost have like a titillation when they speak about people who are queer or trans, where their hatred is informed by this curiosity that not even, or their inability to comprehend different ways of life, right? Because it's so structured for them. And that's kind of what Sean Hannity is appealing to with some of those callers. Their atomization that turns into curiosity and then fear, and then you play off of that. That's just conservatism.
I can see that, because a lot of it's just like sheltered people who are projecting sort of like taboo values onto just people's lifestyle. Like, oh my gosh, people taking a screenshot of like Sunset Park in Brooklyn and being like, this has more crime than Syria, and you're like, what? You're like what? Like, it's, people live in Syria, people live here, it's fine, but it's clear that it's more internal to their own, like, I don't want to say sensitivity to like different lifestyles, but when people move to the suburbs, they're taught that that's like the pinnacle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've made it. Like, this is the American dream: 2.5 children, 2.5 cars, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. You made it.
Yeah.
Mother-in-law suite. I watch House Hunters. I know what people want.
Oh yeah. Those are fun.
Modern farmhouse.
And then a white blonde wife that wears a big hat and takes pictures with pumpkins.
I want it modern, but with a lot of like a local character too.
Barn doors. I need a barn door. I need a barn door leading into every room of my house. But the house can't look like a barn otherwise.
Right, only on the inside. And then, if the paint is chipped on the outside of the house, that's really bad. But if it's on a kind of distressed coffee table, that's actually very expensive.
My house needs to be new, but I can't like it, so I'm going to do a lot of renovations the moment I move in.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Anyway.
Gotta add sweat equity. All my money is in housing and crypto.
Hi, this video is sponsored by Kamakoto Knives. These are amazing Japanese steel knives. They are made using traditional techniques. Each knife is individually inspected and comes with a lifetime guarantee. The knives come in this beautiful heavy-duty ash box, wood box, which makes a great present, obviously. The knives are used by Michelin star chefs all over the world. They have a single blade bevel, so they can get incredibly sharp. There's all sorts of different knives and cuts. Yeah, I know these things are amazing. If you're a part-time chef, or you take your knife works seriously, these knives are for you. Kamakoto is now running a Black Friday sale. and offering my viewers an extra US $50 off on any purchase with the discount code MAJORITY. On top of other special offers, go to https kamikodo.com/majority. That's kamikodo.com/majority to get your knife set and help support our channel.